All right. It says we are live, but for some reason I don't have chat.
Uh, I've got the chat. I just don't have anybody in here yet. I don't see
Yes.
anybody.
We don't have any chats yet. It's just us. There's one other person on here right now.
Huh.
Well, I guess we could just continue talking about what we were talking about backstage and wait for some
Yeah,
people to show up.
there we go. Uh, we were talking about suspension.
Mrs. Squarebody's here. She's the one watching.
Oh,
Hi,
yeah.
Mrs. Squarebody.
There's, yeah, he's waiting on us.
I forget what we were.
Yeah, I
What we
did
were
too. So,
asking.
we're talking about separation, which, you know, our separation in suspension geometry is not like the big boys, but we just make do with what we got. Oh, hey,
Quality
I got
control's here.
Paul. And Busted Radio Garage is here.
Real Garage is here. Hello, hello, hello. You did not
Oh,
disappoint, Mrs. Squarebody. We were happy to see you.
we have to have somebody here.
Yes. But so talking about leaf springs and as far as axle separate or spring wrap and separation of the springs in the back, and I have no experience to back up my theories here, but the reason that I set my truck up the way that I did with all the clamps on the front and then nothing in the back is so that as the axle tried to wrap, it would make the front of the leaf spring more like a stiff bar and allow it
Yeah.
to plant the tires. I
Yeah.
I think my mistake was I don't have enough thickness in the leaf springs for that to be solid enough to prevent it from to control the axle. It's not controlling it. Obviously, based on what it's doing to the drive shafts, it's wrapping the springs, making an S out of them, and trying to drive the rear end underneath the transmission.
Yeah, I think that's what you've got going on is it's the front half of your springs are fairly controlled because I've seen the clamps on them, but the rear half is still letting it. All of your wrap and everything is coming from the rear half of your spring. It's letting it separate too much and just let your axle wrap under. It might not be a bad idea to put some sort of a limiter U-bolt or something around your rear to keep it from unloading so much.
We made a huge mistake. We did not have a camera under the truck.
Yeah.
And so we didn't see what's going on. So we will fix that the next time we go out. But I'm going to start with the slapper bars.
Yeah.
And so I guess the reason that I'm reluctant to start tying the back of the spring down is true leaf spring drag cars, like real drag cars that are still running leaf springs, run a single little tiny leaf in the back and a big heavy leaf in the front. They run a leaf. So
yeah.
Not saying that I know better than you, but I'm just going off of monkey see, monkey do.
Oh, I know. It's and that's the fun of it is we don't have to do the same exact thing because if we all done the same exact thing, then we'd have all the same exact results, and then it's like we're gonna run the same, and it's a driver's race, and I don't know what to say about that, but it's it's fun at our level where we're at just to do our own thing, have our own experience.
Yes, we're not racing for millions of dollars.
No.
If we go out there and as long as we're not breaking parts, as long as we're having struggles that aren't too expensive to fix, that's the fun part, is figuring out how to do it and not just following somebody else's recipe.
Yep. Try something different. I've seen Busted Radio asked if we are both heading to No Name Nationals.
We are. We have hotel booked and tickets bought, and our plan is to go.
I don't have a hotel booked except for the Hotel 2012 Duramax back seat. Because Mrs. Squarebody, her son, and daughter-in-law and everything is going to be coming up from Arizona at about the same time, so she's going to stay home with them. So I'm going to be batching it, going down there. I may have somebody else with me. I may have one of the boys or something come with me, but I don't plan on getting a room anywhere. I plan on just crashing at the track somewhere. And, yeah.
So I wanted to do that too, but I got overruled.
Yeah.
Well, since we're not going to, you're welcome to throw a sleeping bag down inside our trailer.
Well, yeah, that might work too. Quality Control said no turtle race. Oh, don't count that out. I am lazy. I will probably be bringing the turtle so I could drive it around myself. I'll have to get that cleared from Mrs. Squarebody if I could take it or not, but, you know.
First Responder Garage is here.
Yep.
Busted Grill Garage showed up. How's it going? I don't see. Yeah, Busted Rail said that's probably better than the hotel, to be honest.
I don't know. I've slept a lot in my trucks. Sometimes for not good reasons, but I can pretty much sleep about anywhere if I'm tired enough.
Yeah. I've slept in none of my current vehicles, but I've slept in my vehicle on occasion, get tired, pull over, don't want to pay $60 or whatever it is for a hotel to sleep for 3 hours, and just lay the seat back and crash in the front seat. I've done that several times.
Oh, yeah. Find a good rest stop where you feel halfway safe.
Yep. However, my Peterbilt, I slept in that a lot.
Yeah.
ASO's here. Richard showed up.
Richard's here.
So, what have you been up to this week? Anything fun?
Oh, well, I'm still got the 339. I've been plugging away on it. I've got a video coming out tomorrow afternoon and Friday afternoon on what I've been doing on it, and my phone kind of slipped around on me. There we go. Trying to make some headway on it, but I got to thinking this afternoon. It's like, man, I really need to. I got some stuff coming up soon, and I need this engine in this truck for the things that's coming up, because I've got, let's see, August 12th. The guys that done that have the hub dyno, they're having like a competition, and like I think it's like, I don't even know what the entry cost is, $20-$30. They just want to get some people to show up and just have a competition. It's just gonna be a lot of fun. Is what it's gonna be. I'm sure there's gonna be guys there probably making over 2,000 horsepower, and probably guys like me gonna be making. Well, even if I leave the big block in there, I know I can at least make 300 NA.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's gonna be a cool thing, and then I need to get this truck to the drag strip soon with the big block and hit it with the nitrous, kind of see where I'm at there, and then that way, when I get the 339 done, because it's getting closer and closer, I can get it in there and start playing with it. So that's been my main thing, and of course work. been working some overtime, and actually I'm running on about little over 2 hours of sleep since 5 something Monday morning. So
You're doing better than I would be.
it's
So
actually kind of like I used to do for years, but it's the overtime is harder on me nowadays.
yeah, I hear you. Well, ASO also asked about No Name 2023, and we are planning to be there.
Yep.
Buster Radel says he slept in his truck. He doesn't mind it. Amber said we might take the ram crawler camping someday.
Oh,
The ram crawler is our ram charger project, which we hopefully will be having a video coming out Sunday on it. We took it out and played with it a little bit, had some fun, and
cool.
and yeah, so look for that one. But we
That'd be cool.
also, that's going to be our name for it. We couldn't think of a better name, and since Duddy had the Death Charger, I couldn't call it that. So we're going to call it the Ram Crawler.
The ram crawler. So you get your ram crawler where we can maybe we'll need to look if there's somewhere in between you and I.
Yeah.
Because you're in kind of like northern Alabama. I'm in southern Missouri. We need to see if there's an off-road park somewhere in betweenish.
Yes.
And then I need to get my rock crawler going and meet up and hang out.
Your rock crawler is a little bit beyond the ram crawler at this point.
Well,
the ram crawler is an idea at this point. It's basically a stock ram charger. But
yeah,
it's fun.
but I mean, you know, my rock crawler is possibly more capable on some points, but I don't have the nerve I used to have. So, and it's been a while, but still yet, you know, I know its capabilities. I'm just not to the point. I just don't care about pushing it to the limits anymore. Because it's not a full on like 4-link. It's still a lot of just cobbled up backwoods hillbilly stuff like I do, just parts laying around. There is still a lot of good stuff in it, but it's very capable for what it is. But I've got, oh goodness, so I've got to get the 339 in Squeaky. I got to get the big block out of Squeaky. I got to freshen it up, do some work to it, get it in cream puff, and take the 350 that's in cream puff, and that's what's going to go in my rock crawler.
Oh, okay.
So I've got a couple steps ahead of me. Hopefully, it doesn't take me as long as what it did on the 339. It's been over a year now.
Yeah, there was a lot going on with the 339.
There's a lot going on with the build itself, but there's also just, you know, I've got to work around my personal schedule too. So
yes,
I could have been further along with it. I could have had it done by now, but you know, it's one of the things I wasn't going to push myself or push the build because I want it to be the way I want it, and without very, very few compromises. So and I think that's where it's going to turn out. I'm to the point now where I know everything's pretty much wrote down. Everything's checked.
Yeah.
And it's just about the only thing I got left to do is I got to do a little work to the cylinder heads, just some cleaning up, touch up stuff on the casting. I'm not going to go crazy with them. And then the intake, kind of port matching it to the heads and everything. But that's really the biggest things I've got left on this thing. So I'm gonna try to really buckle down and get that done in the next week or so, so we can, yeah, because I really, really, really want to get this engine on an engine dyno at the machine shop
Yeah.
and kind of get it dialed in and know what it's going to make at the crankshaft. And then once we get in the truck, pretty much just leave it the same and take it to horsepower proving grounds to put on the hub dyno.
Yeah.
And because I really want to know how much horsepower my transmission and rear end and the drivetrain
Yes.
take, and that'll give me a better idea of what the sig block actually makes with the crank.
Agreed. Jacob Carter says square body.
Yes.
So
Jacob
Quality
Carter.
Control said she was at Walmart the other day wearing your shirt, and somebody complimented her on her shirt.
Well, they have good taste.
She's active in the chat tonight. She also said we were gonna see if
Yeah.
if you were gonna be home. We are gonna try to stop with the Ram Charger on the way back, but you were out of town, and we got held over by weeks longer than we wanted to be there. And so that didn't work out, but we will have to figure that out at some point.
Oh yeah, it'll be something to work towards, to have in mind, because I miss my rock crawler. I miss just being able to get into it and just putter around my place, because I've got actually just on my little bit of woods I do have on my place. There's some pretty good stuff to climb and some trails and stuff. I need to do some more clearing. There's some more technical stuff I could set up here just on my place. And
do you is your rock crawler is purely off road? It doesn't get driven on the street at all, right?
No, it's not street legal. Or I have driven it down. I think the longest I've driven it was when I moved to this place. I'm about maybe 4 miles away from my old place, and I drove it here on blacktop and gravel roads and stuff, and it does okay. You just can't go very fast. It's full hydro steering.
Yes.
And it's not self-centering, so you can be driving down the road and it'll start creeping off to one side. You got to steadily keep turning the wheel.
Oh.
To correct it. If it's on a heavy crown, like on the blacktop, I just kept slowly turning the steering wheel up the crown towards the center. It wasn't horrible, but I don't want to go. I think my top speed was maybe 30, 35. And the tires aren't balanced, and it's not a street friendly rig. I would drive it to town. I live close enough to town that I would drive it to town, but it's not legal, so we got that going against us.
Yeah, Amber also said she doesn't have the nerve for doing any kind of crazy rock crawling.
Well, I will say this: the more you go out, the more you get comfortable with your vehicle, the more nerve you'll get, and to a certain point. I let peer pressure get the best of me, because I had my boys with me at times when I was wheeling it all the time, and I was going with other guys that had, I guess on paper you'd say better rigs, but I was not going to let them outwheel me. So I was going to do whatever it took to keep up with them and go up this stuff because where we go is it's called SMORR, SMORR. Yeah, Southern Missouri Off-Road Ranch.
Okay.
It's actually one of the top-rated off-road parks in the United States, or it was.
Oh wow.
It's like close to 1,000 acres. It's the guy got a great deal on the place because it was unusable. It was unusable for crops, for cattle, for anything. You couldn't even hardly log the place because it's just drop offs and river or creek bottoms and just
Yeah.
hills and all this.
Perfect for an off-road park, though.
Yeah, but he had the vision to make that out of it, and it worked out perfect. So uh, that piece of property is now, I mean, it's like I said, it's one of the top 5 in the country for sure now.
Oh wow.
Back when I was going there, I'm pretty sure it's one that's either number 1 or number 2 on the charts.
Oh
But
wow.
with that being said, they had trails that I would take my Duramax down, and real simple, basically really rough gravel road.
Okay.
And then and it went up from there. It went from that to stuff that was straight up and like crazy. And they were trails. These were trails that I've watched people go up them. It's like 10, 12 foot bluffs that they would just walk and go up them. And those were like level. It went from level 0 to level 7.
Okay.
Is there levels of trails? Level 7, I don't think there's only a couple level 7s. There's quite a few level 6s that were really, really gnarly. But a lot of level 6s had, kind of easy, they had the really hard route. Then they had some like bypasses or easier routes, to kind of pick and choose from.
Yeah.
But a guy like me, if I can make it to the top of a level 6, no matter which route I took, I made a level 6, and I actually took my truck up or my Blazer up a couple level 6s.
Nice.
There was adult beverages involved in that, and a lot of peer pressure, but it made it.
Barrows is here.
Hey,
So yeah, Amber. So the first time we took her Jeep out, we went to a Jeep.
yeah,
Jeep in the Saloon is what it was called. It's in northwestern Alabama. It's really a cool place. There's a bar inside of a cave, a natural cave, like a set back
oh,
into this huge cliff, and then all around there, I think it's called the Rattlesnake Saloon, and then all around there they have all these trails. And we took her Jeep. It's a stock Jeep with a tiny bit bigger than stock tires on it, and we took it on I think it was green. It was the lowest level trail they had, and
yeah,
it was pretty good. We had fun. We didn't do a good job of videoing it. We really aren't. We haven't had much practice at trying to video off road stuff, so we want to, or anything to that effect anyway. So we had a lot of fun, but that's the first time she's ever been off road,
yeah.
and I think in my lifetime I could count on one hand the number of times I've been off roading, and a few of those were in a Ford Taurus. So I've never. I mean, there was a when I lived in Colorado. I lived at my dad's house and my mom's house. Between them, there's a place called PMI. It's where we drag race there. It's Pueblo Motorsports Park now, PMP. But in the back there's a whole bunch of trails back there, and a lot of it's dirt bike trails. There's a lot of four wheeling trails. But I had a Jeep, like a '89 Jeep Cherokee, and I would take the back way to my mom's house, but it was really just a road. It was a rough dirt road like you're talking about all the way back there. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the majority of my off-road experience was driving down that dirt road because it cut off a whole bunch of miles. But I never really did any real rock crawling or hill climbing or anything like that. I've been a few times as a passenger, but as a driver, I just not something I ever really got into. and I had fun. We went this weekend, and I had a lot of fun. So I look forward to doing more of it.
Uh-oh. Oh, bear with me. My phone's like getting really, really hot for some reason. It's giving me a warning.
Uh-oh. We had the same thing going on with our GoPro today.
Taking my cover off of it. And now it's not wanting to stay in my holder. Huh. All right. Anyways, we can continue on.
Quality control said her Jeep definitely needs a lift kit, and it does. It's got too big of tires for a stock Jeep anyway, and then it's a stock Jeep. So, oh, I think either Chad hit the wrong button or his phone just shut down. So, how is everybody doing tonight? Anybody doing anything exciting tonight? We've been finally back in the garage and doing a little bit of work. Wow, it's really getting glary in here. I couldn't see it until the full screen was up. Yeah, Ember says now accepting donations for the lift kit, I think, but we're it's on the list. It's one of our going to be a future project, and hopefully sooner than later, because she really wants to put a lift kit on her Jeep. Well, this comment was for Chad, but he's he apparently had to. I wonder if his phone shut down. Richard's making BLTs. We had breakfast baked potatoes for dinner. It's Amber's favorite meal. A live review of the cars Faith sent me. I don't think so. I guess we can look at this and see what she sent so far. Well, only one so far. Anybody know anything about Kia? Hold on, wait for it. Kia Souls. My daughter's thinking about buying a 2011 Kia Soul with 115,000 miles on it. I think maybe Chad's gone for the night. Yeah, I don't want to do a review of the cars that Faith wants to buy. Sorry, Amber. We could talk about the. Oh, Tim Windsor says he owns 2 Kia Souls and he can vouch for them. That's good to know because I don't really know anything about the newer cars like that. I mean, as far as foreign cars, the only new cars I've had are Amber's newer cars I've had are Amber's Jeep, a couple of Challengers, and my Dodge truck. And she doesn't want anything like that. So we could talk about the challenges of installing a tunnel ram in an 80 or a 90 Dodge pickup. I don't have any pictures or anything to show you guys, but we finally got the 440 back in our extra parts drag truck, and the engine compartment in that thing is huge, and I never imagined how tight it was going to be to get the tunnel ram in there. And what I'm running into is the back of the tunnel ram. Yeah, Richard says, let's talk tunnel ram. The back of the carburetor, or the back carburetor, sits so close to the firewall, I had to notch the top of the cowl out so the carburetor had room it fits back inside the cowl, and I just anybody else have any experience installing tunnel rams? I don't know what else I have to look forward to. I think I'm almost there, but it's hasn't been exciting so far. Daily drive through. Oh wow, that's really good. Maybe I'll tell her to buy that one. Hers, the one she's looking at's a 5-speed. Is yours in manual or an automatic? There, Tim. I can see you, Chad. Do you have audio?
Yeah, I was just waiting to you quit talking to make sure I was still here.
You are. Did your phone shut off?
Yeah, it just died. It got hot, so I stuck it in my freezer for a minute, and yeah, now I'm back. We'll see how it works.
So that might be a good one for her. We'll have to maybe we'll have to go look at it. Oh wow, awesome! That'll be maybe that'll be a good car for her to have.
We're talking about the 2015 Dart.
Oh, no, Kia Soul. The only one that she sent me so far is a 2011 Kia Soul. It's a 4-cylinder with 115,000 miles on it and a 5-speed manual. She's downsizing her car, or downsizing her car payment anyway. She got rid of her. Yeah. I think she had a 2020 Honda HRV, and she's looking for something used with a few more miles on it that's super cheap. Well, that's good to know. Apparently, Kia Souls are easy to steal.
Yeah, you can get one cheap that way.
Yeah, if we need parts. I forget what we were talking about when you lost your phone shut off.
It wasn't Kia Souls, but
no, I don't have enough experience with rock crawling to continue that conversation by myself because I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, I honestly don't remember where we was at either. We just
hey Jabo.
Jabo is here.
I think we were talking about alcohol and peer pressure leading to bad decisions and.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's lots of that when I was rock crawling, but
so some of my Ford Taurus off-roading experiences have also been driven by the same catalyst.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's pretty much the generic catalyst for a lot of automotive adventures. It doesn't matter what type of automobile you're in.
Yes. Yeah. So maybe we'll have to get her a club. I need to turn a light on in here. I keep forgetting.
Yeah, you guys lose light quicker than we do.
And now the background's blowing up. That's okay.
Oh no! It actually looks like it did when we first started, and I said something about shutting the light off.
Yeah.
When we first got on this live together, and I was like, he asked about his background. I was like, I can't really see it because it was just too much white because of too much light. And then now the sun's going out because he's got there behind his head on his
this side.
There's that side there. There's a window, and it was adding a lot of light to the whole situation. But now that the sun's going down, it's looking a little better.
So I'm not going to try to spell it in the chat, but that's the wrong type of catalyst.
I've got that going on out in my field. I've got one of my boys. I've got his bull out there with my cows right now, so we've got a lot of that going on now.
Yeah, Richard says crazy to believe a Ford Taurus kind of wheels okay as a kid. It did really well until we bottomed it out and broke the plastic fuel line. And
Yeah,
then,
if it wasn't for that, you'd still be wheeling it probably.
well, so yeah, I mean maybe, but I totaled it not long after that, so probably not.
Yeah.
But that story leads to other bad decisions. Like, there's no way I'm gonna walk to the gas station and call my dad so he can come pick this broken car up out of the field where we weren't supposed to be, with a hole in the fuel line, doing things we weren't supposed to be doing with his car. So Richard and I pushed that Ford Taurus almost a mile and a half to the gas station before we called my dad to have him come out and bring us a piece of fuel line so we could fix it. Because I had a piece of fuel line, but it was the regular non-fuel injection stuff, and we
Yeah.
put that on there and made it a. I think that lasted long enough to actually get out of the hills, but then it just turned
Yeah.
into a balloon and popped. So we pushed it a long ways to not have to tell my dad what we were doing with his car that night. Richard says the club is Kia's solution to a lack of a security device. So my sister's Yukon got stolen at an airport in Denver about 6 months ago, I believe. And that hotel at the airport now, with your room, when you get a room, it comes with the use of a club for the night.
Oh wow. that that I, I don't know how I would feel about that if I checked in a hotel and they handed me a club to put on my vehicle. I'm like,
Yes.
I
Yes,
don't know
no,
about
thank
that.
you. I think I might have to find somewhere else to stay.
Yeah.
Tim says, yeah, Richard, you're exactly right. So, what other kind of crazy four-wheeling stories do you have to tell? I want to know what I'm getting myself into if we're gonna come meet up and go four-wheeling.
Well, I mean, I will not be the guy that will take you on stuff that I don't think your rig is capable of, because I've been with those guys before, and yeah, that's why my rig ended up like it is because like if I'm gonna keep going out here, I got to keep building it better and better to keep up with these guys because they have no mercy.
No,
They would take me on stuff that's like I had no business being on with a full size leaf spring truck. You know, it's like I'm because they were in 4 length front and rear, Fox shock, little 4-cylinder 5-speed rigs, and like really really capable crawlers. Mine's just more of a big beater,
yes,
and yeah,
we'll have that in timing because mine is pretty much going to be just a beater.
yeah. So, oh man, I mean, we had a lot of stories. We had a lot of fun in it, and that was really cool because it was something we could, me and the boys could go out and just go have fun. I could let them drive and let them talk me into doing some stupid stuff and uh, teach them some life lessons of why you should not, allow people to peer pressure you into stuff. Because I was allowing them to peer pressure me into stuff. It's like, oh, Dad, we almost made it last time we were here. You got to try it this time. I just don't. Oh, here's another beer. Drink another beer, and so not trying to blame my kids for my alcohol consumption, but they kind of contributed to it because they're like, get Dad another beer. He'll try it, and yeah, but the coolest thing is the progression of my rig.
Yeah,
Because I think I watched your video you're talking about of you and Amber going out in the Jeep, and the stuff I've been through, you're going through little water holes. Like driving around my field or
Yes.
some of the gravel roads around here. So, but I thought, you guys are having fun. I could tell you guys weren't used to it, so I could sense your enjoyment in it. And so, but it brought me back to whenever I first took my rock crawler out, which it wasn't a rock crawler, it was a stock uh, Blazer with I think 4-inch lift springs on it, just whatever it had laying around, and
Yeah.
33 1250s on it.
That size
The
I
truck,
have.
I mean, it was completely rusted out, but it only had one dent in the sheet metal. So and all the original trim was there, the original interior. It was like a 99.9% original 79 Blazer, but it was so rusted out, it wasn't worth saving for like a restoration. It was just too far gone. So I made it into a rock crawler, but so I wasn't really worried about beating it up. But we took it out the first time. We drove it to the place more, and it's like about half hour, 45 minutes away. We drove it there. We wheeled it for the day. I caved one of the doors in, ripped the trim off of it, and I was kind of upset about that because like that was an original 79 door that was perfect. No rust in the door. The doors didn't have rust in them, but I caved in one of the doors. I can't remember. I think it was the passenger side, and ripped the trim off of it. It's like it was perfect trim. Like so, I got it home. I peeled all the trim off of it. I've still got most of it left, and I was like, okay, we're gonna make this more of a serious. I was wanting to make it a dual purpose. Be able to drive on the street and wheel it.
Yeah.
And that didn't last very long. It's like, I got the bug, but the funniest thing was like watching your video, and remember my first trip there. We were going down one of the easy trails. They call it Pee Wee Crossing. What it is a creek bed that pretty much goes the whole length of the property.
Okay.
It's a couple miles long, and it's got some rough spots, but it's also all pretty easy to go through. Like I said, I would take my 1-tons, either my Duramax or Buddy, down Pee Wee Crossing. The way it was back then. It's been several years ago, but it was just a rough creek crossing. So, but there was a couple spots on that trail. I was looking up these other trails that come off of it. It was like a main artery. Then off of that was like level 2s, level 3s, 4, 5, 6 off of this main trail.
Okay.
And I would look up those things. I'm like, yeah, I'm never going to be able to make it up that. I mean, that's ludicrous. That's stupid. And even in some of the spots on Pee Wee Crossing, there was one little waterfall. It's like maybe 3 foot, a 3 foot little waterfall. Oh, maybe 10 foot wide. It was off the side of the trail. And we were driving down through there, and I seen this little Jeep Cherokee with like 32s on it, going down it and going up it. I'm like, I don't think this Blazer will make that, and I'm not even willing to try it right now because we've got to drive it home.
Yes.
And I remember thinking, man, what am I doing? I'm never going to be able to make anything small like that, let alone get on these, level 2s or 3s. Well, the next time we went out, I can't remember every progression as far as upgrades to the truck, but about every time I went out, I had something different done to it to make it more capable. And the next time we went out, I trailered it there. So if I broke, who cares?
Yep. Get it back to the trailer and haul it home.
No. It's jogging my memory now. On our way home, it started running rough. Now, mind you, I bought this Blazer. It had been sitting for like 10 years in a guy's driveway. I bought it. I trailered it to the house. I don't even even put gas in it at first. It had 10-year-old gas in it, and I put a battery, and it started. I mean, it literally started up. I put those tires on it. I put some different tires on it because the tires that were on it were just like literally coming apart. Drove it around the place a little bit. It's like, okay, I'm going to do something with this. It's not just a parts truck anymore. Because I originally bought it just for a transfer case. So I was going to build another rig. So, yeah, kind of backtracking a little bit. So I decided to put the suspension in it, done that. On our drive home for the first wheeling trip, it started running rough. And I let it sit for a couple of days and messed around with it, realized, I didn't change the oil in it. It still had like the 10-year-old oil in it. So it flattened the cam out. And that was a huge mistake. And I could have saved that original. I mean, it's original. I don't remember how many miles, but it's the original 350 in that Blazer. But yeah, I flattened the cam out in it. It's like, well, I pulled it out. I called a buddy of mine. I said, hey, do you know of any engines? I don't care what it is, just a small block, big block, whatever. He's like, oh, well, this guy's got he knew a guy had a really, it's supposed to be a built, I'd probably say 350 horse, 350 in an S10 that had 0 miles on it.
Okay.
For like $500. I'm like, oh, that'd be great. And as I said, I'm going to have more than that to get this one back going.
Yeah.
He said he's also got a 454 that's sitting on a tire that he just pulled out of a wrecker or a rollback or something.
Okay.
And it's supposed to be low miles, and all we got to do is back up to it, pick it up for the same price. Like, that's a no-brainer. I'm buying a big block.
Big block or small block? Yeah, no, all day long, big block.
Big block. All I got to do is load it on the truck or small block. I had to pull the small block out of that S10. Like, at first I'm like, well, small block's more what I need in that Blazer. I don't need a big block in it, but like, yeah, it was like, and that's the big block that's in Squeaky right now. But yeah, we put the big block in it. The next trip we trailered it there, and we had more power. I mean, that was the biggest upgrade. We had all the torque and everything we needed.
Yeah.
Let's see, what gears did it have in it? I think it had 410. But I still had the. Oh, that was what I did. I apologize. I'm remembering this stuff, but it's like 10 years ago, 10, 12 years ago. Before the big block, before we first took it out, I put 3/4 ton axles underneath it.
Okay.
So before I ever drove it, I put 3/4 ton axles underneath it. I had wheels and tires. I had the axles, and I think they were 410, if I remember right. Anyways, so yeah, so I had 3/4 ton axles, 410 gears, and a big block, and I trailered it there. So as long as I got it drugged back to the trailer, I can make it home. So we're good. So, and we had a lot more fun that trip because I was willing to do more.
Break it.
Yeah, but they were just 33 1250 all season tires on it, and actually they were the tires I was going to put on the back of Squeaky, but they came apart. Yeah, because I never get rid of anything. I keep everything. So it just kind of progressed from there. I found a set of 37-inch military tires. That's where I got into the military tires. Because I wanted, more tire. And that was the cheapest, taller tire I could get. So I put those on there, and it made it that much more capable. I put a spool, or a mini spool in the rear, and that was night and day difference. And then the next time out, I welded the front solid. so I had locked front and rear. Still, I think it was a 10 bolt up front and 14 bolt in the rear. And we just kept getting more and more into it, but it still had the stock steering, and it was garbage.
Yeah.
I mean, literally garbage. The body and everything flexed so much that I could run up on something with the right front tire and have it all the way up. And see, I could have my steering wheel turned all the way one way, but my tires would be all the way the other way. Just because of the steering geometry with that trailing link garbage that GM has on their trucks, and Dodge had on theirs too, the four-wheel drive.
So yours wasn't crossover steering then?
Huh?
It wasn't crossover steering. It was that drag link on the side.
Yeah, it was drag link on the side. Well, that was then. I got in a really bad situation at that point because I was following some other guys. It was me and the boys and mine. I was following some other guys, and we got going down a hill, and it was steep enough. I was actually happened to like creep up against the bank to stop me because I was just sliding. I kept sliding down the hill, so I'd have to like ease over and either bump up against a tree and wait for the guys to get over a log, and then I'd have to back up or try to get around that tree, but I had to have something to stop me because I was just sliding. And we got up to this tree, and it was at an angle. We're going downhill, and I got one tire up on it, and my steering, I had a guy spot me at the bottom of the hill. He's like, turn full left. I said, I'm as far left as I could go. He said, well, your tires are turning right. I said, this is all I got.
Oh, wow.
He's like, I can't do anything for you. So I had the boys get out, and everybody got out of the way. I said, I've got one shot. I said, I'm not going to back up. I'm just going to take off from where I'm at. I said, everybody get out of the way. I'm going to bonsai this. I couldn't back up because it was too steep. I just spin. So I had to go forward. That's my only route. So I wasn't going to get.
Did you have a roll bar in it at that point?
No, I don't think I did.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was pretty sketchy. I might have had the roll bar in there. I can't remember exactly when I put stuff in, but anyways, I told everybody to get out of the way, and I had everything in my mind ready what I was going to do, because as soon as it popped up over that log, I was going to have to counter steer to get my wheels, everything back to where it needed to be.
Yeah.
And basically just jump that log as best I could and try to keep it heading straight downhill. Because once I got over the log, it was too steep for me to stop. I was just going to have to go for another 20 feet straight down this hill so it went flat. And then there's probably another 20, 25 feet to there's trees. So I didn't have a runway or
cut down area.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, everybody get away. So that's what I did. I let that big block use its torque, and it jumped over that log, and I was wheeling that wheel around and made it down to the bottom. Like, oh, okay, and everybody's cheering, and I was like, ooh, that's the coolest thing about wheeling is if you're wheeling with other people, whether it's 2 people or 2 rigs or 10 rigs.
Yeah.
One of them is going to be the one that always has problems or you got to wait for.
Yeah.
Whatever. And that day I was that guy. But the group I was with didn't care.
Yeah. That's a group you like to go wheeling with.
Yeah. I mean, everybody kind of had their issues every now and then. There were some times that they were getting hung on stuff, and my Blazer not having any problems. But I was having the most issues the whole day because my steering. And but yeah, I made it to the bottom. They was all cheering. It was cool, and it was just but then that was when I decided if I had I still had the drag link stock steering, so I went to crossover,
Is
and I
it
still
better
had
than the
enough
drag link? Is it worth doing?
to a point. It was great. It was a huge upgrade for a while, but my front suspension had so much articulation that even in the springs, if I would put a like a pannered bar or track bar to keep the axle centered, uh, that would have been a good, really good setup.
Okay.
Because what would happen is I would still have, because my floors are expanded metal. I could see my springs, I could see my wheels and tires up front and the right rear for my seat. So I would be steering, and I could see my springs and my shackles flexing like this
Oh wow.
with the steering. So I was losing, probably a good, 2 inches of travel either way on steering. It was way better than the factory stuff, but it still wasn't good or great. So that's when I decided to drop the money into the full hydro steering. It's completely separate from the frame. It's just, yeah, that's the way to go. It's expensive up front, but it's the best way to go if you're really going to get serious in the wheeling.
Yeah, because then
But
it
yeah,
doesn't matter what the axle does in the truck; it's going to turn the tires.
oh yeah. And if you have your pump pressure up, which I never did up the pressure on that pump, like I should have. So sometimes, because I was running 39, 16.5, or 39 tall, 16.5 inch wide, but that, so you got a lot of meat there. If you get in a bind, sometimes I would have to wrestle a little bit to get the tires to turn when I needed to. But it's because I never did upgrade the pressure relief valve in the power steering pump.
Oh, okay.
But that was a night and day difference.
I've had Amber's comment here highlighted for a little while, where she says she doesn't
Yeah.
mind rubbing the occasional tree, but she doesn't. Let me clarify what she means by tree. She means tree branch. She has no interest whatsoever in rubbing the tree itself. She's not worried about a tree branch here or there.
Oh, I've literally had my Blazer laying on its side on a bank, and we're still moving, and those two tires are off the ground, but we're still moving, and it's carbureted. It's not fuel injected. And it was just an old Holly 600, just your run-of-the-mill 1850. You get anywhere. But I had some tricks done to it, to help with the flooding and stuff.
Yeah.
But I get it up on its side, and I can literally just touch the ground like this. The ground is right here in my door. Because I didn't have doors. But yeah, I beat the crap out of that thing, and it's still, if I had an engine in it, it'd still be ready to go.
Apparently she doesn't mind the tree too, because then she could get her fender if she wants.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, we've got about 1 minute and 9 seconds left before we go to the after hour show, which this week has a different name because Amber renamed it something else, but I don't remember what it is. But the link for it is right here, and we'll open it up. And if anybody wants to join us on there, you can get in here. And probably not going to be a super long one because I know Chad's running on little sleep, and I'm not. I've had plenty of sleep, but I'm still tired. So
Well,
stay on there for an hour or two, or until it gets boring, and then we'll cut it off at that point.
You got me on the off-road subject, so
now you're fired up.
Yeah, I'm kind of fired up. But we don't have to stay on that subject, and I feel bad for kind of.
Oh no, I enjoy talking about it. Like I said, I'm a rookie at it, so
yeah.
Any experience is definitely welcomed. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us, and
good seeing you guys.
The link's there in the description, and we'll be about 5 minutes. We're going to switch everything over, and we'll catch you guys over there. See you soon.